All right, so the year is winding down, and you know what that means resolutions. But what if there's a totally different way to look at it? An approach that sees the new year not just as another date on the calendar, but as a real, genuine spiritual opportunity. Let's dive into this guide for a true fresh start. I mean, we've all been there, right? You make this big list, you feel super motivated for like a week, and then it's February and it's all out the window. But what if the problem isn't your willpower? What if failure is actually baked into the very idea of a resolution? This philosophy suggests the whole problem is in how we even approach the fresh start. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start by looking beyond resolutions. Then we'll explore this wild metaphysical idea of a crack in time on January 1st. After that, we'll get into the practical prep work, the plunge. We'll focus on that critical midnight moment. And finally, we'll talk about the end goal, what it means to embrace a new dawn. First things first, we have to completely reframe what a New Year's goal even is. It's not about using brute force and willpower to change. It's about inviting that change from somewhere much, much deeper. So here's the fundamental difference. A resolution, according to this teaching, comes from your ego. It's just you, with your finite, limited personal strength, trying to battle these deep-seated habits. And let's be honest, that's usually a losing fight. In aspiration, though, that's totally different. It's a call from your soul. It's not about your strength at all. It's about surrendering and asking a higher, infinite force for help. It's this massive shift from saying, I will do this, to saying, may this be done through me. Okay, so why January 1st? I mean, of all the days, why does this one seemingly arbitrary date hold so much power? Well, according to this line of thought, the answer is all about the power of our collective minds. And this brings us to a key concept, the collective convention. Now think about this. When hundreds of millions, maybe billions, of people are all focusing on the exact same idea at the exact same time, the end of the old, the beginning of the new, it creates this incredible wave of energy. All that shared hope and intention makes the Earth's atmosphere in a way more flexible, more plastic. And that creates a kind of spiritual lever that you can use for profound personal change. Now, to use that lever, you have to think about time differently. This table lays out three dimensions. First, you've got your normal, everyday, linear time. Past, present, future, all tied up with karma. That's the state we want to shed. Then there's timelessness, which is the static, detached state. That's a tool we're going to use right at midnight. But the goal, the big prize, is to enter what's called supramental time, where the future isn't just a result of the past, it's a totally fresh creation. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The point isn't to just turn a new leaf in the same old book you've been writing your whole life. The point is to start a completely new book, one that isn't weighed down by the cause and effect of everything that came before. It's a truly radical fresh start. So now for the practical stuff. How do you actually do this? Well, it's not just a thought exercise. It takes some serious preparation, a kind of spiritual deep clean before the new year actually arrives. The prep work is broken down into a pretty clear four-step process. First, you review the past year and dissolve its grip on you. Second, you purify your inner world and your outer space. Third, you conserve your energy and focus. And finally, you have to consciously choose how you're going to align yourself for that big transition. Let's dig into that first step, review and dissolve. This is all about looking back at the year, but not with regret or judgment. It's about seeing your mistakes, your attachments, your weaknesses with a clear head, and then correcting them right there in your consciousness. The idea is that by pulling your mental and emotional energy away from them, you dissolve their power. The past literally becomes, as it's put here, like falling dust. Okay, step 2 is where the rubber really meets the road, because it connects your inner world with your outer world. The instruction is to literally clean your room, organize your desk, settle your debts, fix things that are broken. The principle here is simple. A chaotic external space invites chaotic internal forces. So by getting your physical world in order, you're actually strengthening your will to get your inner world in order and toss out all those useless mental habits. Now, this whole process isn't just some casual self-help exercise. As the new year gets closer, you're faced with a pretty stark choice, a moment of real psychological reckoning. It's summed up in this incredibly powerful 1967 message, truth or the abyss. So what is this abyss? It's not some fiery pit. It's a state of mind. It's built on fear, on that cynical distrust of everything, on plain old self-interest. The way forward, the path of truth, is to consciously choose the opposites. You choose faith over fear. You choose to trust in a higher grace. And you choose consecration, dedicating yourself to something bigger than your own little ego. And all of this preparation leads to the main event. The stroke of midnight on December 31st is not a time for champagne and noisemakers. In this context, it's a focused, silent, spiritual action, a liturgy of transition.
The most important thing here is silence. All that energy you've been carefully building up has to be conserved. Idle chit-chat, getting all excited, it just dissipates everything. This message from 1950 is basically a command. Don't talk about it. Do it. Don't announce your plans. Just realize them, internally, in silence.
A huge part of this midnight ritual involves listening to special New Year music. But there's a very specific way to do it. This isn't about enjoying a melody. It's about using sound as a technology. You can't analyze it with your critical mind. Instead, you're told to just plunge into it, be totally passive and receptive, and just let the vibrations do their work. The music is a vehicle designed to carry you from the old consciousness into the new. So, after all this rigorous preparation and intense discipline, what's the point? What happens if you actually navigate this transition successfully? Well, the goal is nothing less than a complete and total rebirth. This new birth is the whole reason for the practice. It's described as a profound psychological event where the very center of your personality actually shifts. The old you, with all its patterns and baggage and ego structures, is shed. And that creates this clean, empty space for a new, higher consciousness to come in, completely unburdened by everything that came before. What's really fascinating is to see how the focus of this work changed over time. If you look at the New Year messages through the decades, you can see this clear evolution. It starts in the 30s, focused on individual sincerity. Then, during World War II, it shifts to endurance and faith. In the 50s, it's all about this supramental action and physical change. And then by the 60s and 70s, it becomes a call for everyone to collaborate with this big change happening in the world. So, if you're going to take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. This entire practice completely flips the script on how we think about the new year. The goal isn't to make a to-do list for your ego. The goal is to do a deep, deep cleaning of your consciousness to create a clean, silent, receptive space for a future you can't even imagine to come and manifest through you. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to chew on. What if we have it all backward? What if time isn't a road we travel down, but a force that descends into us? This whole practice is about preparing ourselves to be a worthy vessel for that descent. It completely reframes progress not as something we achieve, but as something we allow.